Hey everyone, we're here with Brett Trembly, who's a serial entrepreneur. His company, Get Staffed Up, helps busy business owners get virtuals to help you gain your freedom. So we're going to talk about how to hire a Rockstar Virtual Assistant. Brett, talk to us. Share with us some of the tidbits and key things of what we need to be doing, what the process is, and what to look for.
Hey guys, Brett Trembly here, co-founder of Get Staffed Up, and today we're speaking with Kristen David from Upleveling Your Business about how to hire a rockstar virtual assistant. At Get Staffed Up, we like to say, delegate your way to freedom. So the big picture here is that we are just emphatic about delegation as a means of increasing your productivity and your lifestyle, etc. If you're looking to grow your business or just have more free time, that's the key component. And we're offering help on how you can look for a virtual assistant that's going to fit your needs. So we're happy to jump in. And for us, we like to talk about a three-step process for searching and then hiring your virtual assistant. Those three steps are to analyze the needs of the position and create a job description. And a lot of people think that's kind of a throwaway. We'll just put the position and put a few details, but it's really important to be detailed because the more work you put up front, the better. As they say, sharpen the axe instead of just going to chop down the wood. Number two is be clear on what you're looking for, not only in the job description, but in the skills that the person you ideally want to work with will have themselves. So we'll get into the different types of really energy and skill set that you want to look for depending on the type of virtual assistant that you're looking to hire. And third, test, test, test. And why do we say it 3 times? It's because as really I learned a long time ago from Kristen David with Upleveling Your Business is you should be testing all the way through the process to not only save yourself a lot of time and to screen out all of the applicants that are they're not going to fit the position, but to really get down to the top 1, 2, 3% of job applicants. And it's what we pride ourselves on at Get Staffed Up is we are finding the best global talent and placing them with business owners, entrepreneurs in the United States to just do a kick butt job for those entrepreneurs. So let's get into.
Yeah. Yes, I was just going to say the same thing. Let's get into, tell us about the different types of positions. How do you make sense of the different duties that there are that you need help with? Tell us how you guys organize it.
I would love to. And after several years of honing and refining, instead of having a list of 30 different specific positions that you can use a virtual team member for, we broke it up into 3 categories. These are the 3 main areas in business that are really, really useful when you're looking to hire virtual assistants. So the first one, I'll just tell you all 3. We have the clerical category, the dynamic category, and then the marketing category. And I'll tell you the differences and why we named it that and how it makes sense to us and hopefully to you. So for a clerical position, this is a person who's helping the owner, meaning probably you, or a staff member, a team member to give additional support. So these are things like organizing files, scheduling, to-do lists, reminders, follow-ups, calendaring, again, and email. And this can be done either helping around the office with maybe light phone duties in the legal world, setting court dates or setting calendar entries, lunches, helping the staff with some of the same positions. For example, at one of my other businesses, my personal assistant has a virtual assistant to take some of the workload that I like to just push on her quite a bit. And then helping the owner. And as Chris and I have discussed, that's Uber, travel, restaurant reservations, sending gifts, sending follow-up cards, email, especially for the owner. Don't get into the trivial. Get those things off of your plate, and you can give all of those tasks to a virtual assistant, even though sometimes it feels really good to be really busy and get things done. what you're getting done matters. And so that's really a clerical staff person, mostly administrative, paperwork, email, anything really digital. The second area that we've kind of delineated is a dynamic staffer. We call them staffers, by the way, and if I use that term, I mean a virtual assistant. So a dynamic staff member virtual assistant is going to be on the phones. So could be your receptionist. It could be somebody doing your intake and actually scheduling your consultations or your sales meetings, doing confirmation calls, or doing client outreach, not only to your current clients, but to former clients. And just kind of a quick note, you definitely want to distribute the phone duties between the person answering the phone and your intake person, and especially between your intake person and the actual salesperson. So if you don't want to go hire all three positions onshore and really add a lot of money to your monthly overhead, a virtual staff member is a great person to add into this situation. But I'll talk about this later. It's very important if you're going to be hiring someone to be on the phones. That's a much different job description and skill set than somebody who needs to have a lot of good attention to detail and be really good at writing if they're handling your email. So as I mentioned before, the third position, and the one everyone likes to talk about, is the marketing assistant. Everyone look, entrepreneurs, I probably had 4 ideas before I hit the shower this morning, and they all sounded great in my head. And entrepreneurs are like this. I know it. We have all of these ideas that are, if they're really in our head, right? But you can picture them like they get stacked up on your shelf because they just gather dust. All these ideas, all these things you want to attack. And until you have someone to say, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, they're never going to get done. Now, everything you get done, are they all going to work? Of course not. The famous quote is, 50% of our marketing works if I only knew which 50%.
Yeah.
So, but getting into more of the details, there are companies that will charge, $1,500 a month for maybe 2 blog posts and 10 or 20 social media posts. What we're talking about is a full-time virtual marketing assistant who is going to be, you talk about at least 10 times the output of a part-time or fractional person who can handle your social media, some email marketing, press releases with the right template, some video editing, although that is a different skill set that if you really want that, you're going to have to list that prominently in the job description, and do some creative deliverables such as workbooks, PDFs, brochures. And 1 note or 2 notes I want to make. One, we're talking about a marketing assistant, not a marketing director and not a marketing coordinator. Those are 2 very, very different things. And you have to be careful because we do get a lot of calls from people saying, I want to just find someone and give away all my marketing. I want them to do everything. And you can't abdicate your vision because as the owner or the entrepreneur, it's in your head and you really have to own that still. And the other thing is be very careful with digital marketing. And Kristen David from Upleveling Your Business likes to say, those are different things. We're talking about content marketing, which virtual's perfect for, really, and digital marketing, SEO, Google AdWords, even Facebook ads. You can spend a lot of money and mess so many things up that will take a year to fix if you try to find a person that doesn't have that very, very technical skill set. So that's really important.
Thank you for pointing that out, because that is definitely another universe, different topic, different area. But no, that's great. Understanding the clerical, the dynamic versus marketing, it has its own category. And I agree, that's definitely where most business owners want to be, in that position to have a full-time marketing assistant to start executing on all these great ideas. But how can you share a little bit about how do we find the right person with the right skill set?
Absolutely. So that takes us to number 2, which is in the job description. First you're going to list all of the technical duties of the position. Then you're going to list personal skill sets. And we're not talking about, familiar with Microsoft Office. You can train those things. What we're talking about here is what is your firm or office culture, and how do you want that person to fit in? Because if it's going to be somebody answering the phones, do you want someone who's low energy, could be brilliant, but just doesn't have, the right energy you're looking for, the right tonality? Or do you want someone who's, hi, this is such and such firm. Thank you for calling. I can't wait to speak with you today. Do you want someone who's cheery and bubbly? Because that's the first impression of your firm. We've been able to find really awesome receptionists for some of our clients. And that's an important thing to mention in the job description, because when somebody thinks they're getting hired for a clerical position, that they may not like the camera and they may not like the phone. So if you hire them and 2 weeks later you say, oh, by the way, I need you to make 100 calls and I need you to set people up for consultations or for sales meetings or whatever you call them, that person is likely going to say, oh my gosh, that's not what I signed up for. They're going to get scared, and it's not going to work out well in our experience. Sometimes you can find that unicorn, but most of the time you can't. So the more specific you are in, I need somebody cheery, energetic, somebody who just loves people, that could be a good, skill set position for a dynamic staffer. Marketing doesn't necessarily need to be that. They could just be a brilliant tactician and graphic designer. And if you're having them do the content, they may not need to be the world's most outgoing person. And certainly for clerical, you're going to say, attention to detail, great writing skills, those types of things, pays attention to how to name files. And that really takes us to number 3, because that's what you want to do with when we said at the beginning, test, test, test.
So what are a couple of ways that you can test? I know that you and I have gone into in depth on specific positions, but are there some in generalities? How can you test a virtual assistant?
Okay, that's such a good question. And just for full clarity, a lot of this Kristen and I have worked on together for years in terms of narrowing down the hiring process and making it something that's fun, not something that's burdensome. There's a statistic that every time you hire someone, not in the money spent, but in resources and time, it costs you $5,000. So imagine having to do that 4 times a year for the same position because you didn't find the right person. So what we do at the very, very beginning is when we place the job ad, we hide in there somewhere, in order to apply, please either click this link or send an email here and put this specific word or phrase in the subject line. That could be banana in all caps. It could be, I am your next great assistant spelled backwards. Whatever it is, you can set up an email filter to automatically bounce out anything that doesn't have that exact phrasing. So if 100 people apply, in our experience, you're going to get about 20 that do it the right way. So that's the first test. And then we give a quiz, and we recommend you give a written quiz that you can develop for that position. Again, if it's maybe for a dynamic virtual position, you say, please film yourself on your phone 30 seconds of why you want this job and send it back to us, along with maybe 5 to 10 other written questions. If it's for a marketing assistant, you want them to say, please design 10 different Facebook posts and 10 different Instagram posts and tell us why you designed each one. Now, don't give them a whole week's full of work. What you want to give them is 2 to 3 hours, or somebody will say, I'm not going to do all this work because I don't know these people yet. But that will whittle it down to about maybe 3 to 5 applicants who actually complete the test or the quiz you gave them. So now, instead of looking at 100 resumes or 20, now you're looking at the test results, the quiz results, and everything else, and you're down to selecting maybe your 2 to 3 interviews. And from there on the interview, give them one more test specific to the type of position that they're applying for.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, this has been amazing. I think there's a lot of people that are out there that are knowing that they need to add a Rockstar virtual assistant to their team, but didn't even have the framework to get started on it. Now that they have the framework, though, I know I'm a big fan of your company. It's just such a great thing that you have developed with your partner. so excited that you are out there and other resources like that, because I know for busy business owners, they don't always have the time to do all these things themselves. And it's often very beneficial to find somebody that you can trust, that you can go to and find the right kind of person to get placed in your office. And Brett, as you know, I'm a big fan and send lots of people to you because I think you guys do just such a great job. So thank you for jumping on, for sharing those things. Any last thing you want to share? You good?
No, good luck. That was a lot of content. I really hope it helps.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kristen.